and welcome to another amazing day with fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I will be your broadcast engineer for today. I am here with three amazing people, one from RC Consulting, our wonderful Miles Debsky, and then two from LiveCode, William Craig and Kevin Miller, who are both here to discuss their fantastic product and basically day two of our I'm going to call it the 10-day extravaganza, because what it is, of can you get Android to work with FileMaker? And the answer is yes, with the amazing LiveCode. So we are talking about that. We're on day two of that today. We're going to be, well, I'll talk about that in a little bit. So, a quick reminder, we stream on 3 platforms. We stream on Discord, we stream on YouTube, and we stream on Twitch. We are an interactive live stream. Please ask us questions. Please talk to us. The entire point of us being here is so we can take questions that you guys have and forward them to the people who know best how to answer them, which they will be doing when they have time and if they have an answer. So, that will be part of our live stream, so please do that. We greatly appreciate it. Real quick, we're going to look at the schedule for going forward. It doesn't quite cover all of it, but so basically we have today, which is we install LCFM native and build and discuss the application. And then obviously Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, all the way through next Friday is LiveCode. Each day will cover a different part of the building an app, submitting it, updating it, all that entire process. So it'll be very fun and very exciting. If you happen to go I want to talk about, I want to hear about server, I want to hear about some other aspect of FileMaker, we do have our amazing bundle training. Since we do this for free 5 days a week, buying our bundle helps the channel, helps us, helps everything keep the lights on, and it is 100+ hours of amazing FileMaker content where your teacher is Richard Carlton, who is very excitable and very entertaining. So if you like more curated FileMaker content, feel free to buy that and support us. We greatly appreciate it. What are we talking about today? Specifically, Kevin, William, Miles.
Yeah. Today is our day 2. So yesterday, just a quick little recap, we just kind of introduced what LiveCode for FileMaker. Basically had kind of a Q&A session with Kevin, answered a lot of cool things. So we'll have that recording available for everyone. Today, we're actually going to be starting with our app. So our goal on this whole thing is we're going to build a simple app in FileMaker, and by the end, it's going to be running on an Android device and syncing back and forth with the hosted FileMaker file on a server. So today, we're going to start building that app in FileMaker. It's nothing crazy, nothing complicated, but we're just going to step through, build some of it. I'm going to demo that, then we're going to hand it over to William, who will then, talk about actually getting LiveCode for FileMaker, kind of the install things to look for with that, and then we'll also kind of have a sync conversation at a kind of overview level. Like Margaret mentioned, ask questions as you have them. Ask them. She'll ping them to us, and we'll just kind of go as we do, just kind of naturally along. William, Kevin, do you guys have anything to add kind of on the upfront here?
I think just before we get started, there were a couple of questions from yesterday that I didn't know the answer to.
Sure.
So somebody asked whether or not we had the safe area implemented in the latest beta 3. Unfortunately not. I spoke to our engineers earlier today. I think Will said that it was giving him nightmares, but it is coming. We do expect it in the next build. And somebody else asked about local notifications and whether we support those, and the answer to that is yes, we do.
Awesome. So for those of you who asked that question yesterday, I believe one of the safe area was from FM Go Pro on YouTube. Hopefully that answered that question for you.
All right, cool. Well, then let me share my screen here. All right, so like I said, we're going to start building our app in FileMaker. So let's go. We're just going to start totally new here, opening FileMaker, blank file. We're going to call this the RCC data collector. I'm just going to put raw here, and we'll save it in documents. Perfect. So we could have people from all over the spectrum kind of on development here. So sorry if some of this is not exciting for some. Others, it might be new to you. So we're just going to kind of go through it together. So first it makes our default folder here, and I'm I'm going to rename this preferences. And then I'm just going to change this primary key here to ID preferences. Change that. That's all we're going to do in that table. Then I'm going to come back to tables. We're going to make one more called files. And then in fields, once again, change this primary key just to stay consistent. We're going to call that ID file. And then we are going to add some fields in this one. So ID file, cool. So the couple files we're actually going to make, we want people to be able to take pictures on their mobile device. So I'm going to make a container field called image. I'm also going to make one called audio, so we can do little audio recordings. And then the last one is going to be scanning a barcode. So we got 3 container fields for that. And then a couple simple text fields. We're going to do one called title. Let's create that. We're going to do description. And then we're also going to do barcode number. We're just going to leave that as a text. Super simple. We are not doing anything with relationships. Just keeping our main anchors here. I will kind of do our little standard naming we do, just T0 preferences, and then I'm going to do T01 for files. There we go. All right, let's commit that. And so here we have our 2 layouts. Too much time on, but just we do want to size things kind of for a mobile device. And so for those who don't know, we have these little markers here that you can set in layout mode to kind of see as guides. I set up a custom one here, 363 by 517. So I'm going to kind of hold to that for this mobile side of things. So I'm going to pull that up there. And then let's see, top nav. It's actually kind of big. Let me make this smaller and our body a bit more. Okay, and then yeah, for preferences, I mean, I'm just going to put preferences in here. If I can spell it, preferences, there we go. Okay, and then, yeah, that's preferences. We're also going to make a simple about layout, which we're not going to fill out right now, but you know, this is where we'll just put about the company, about the app. So I'm going to do the same thing on there. We're going to make this, what was it, 51 and 466. And yeah, down here is where we'd say, you know, RCC, blah, 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 and about the app. So about preferences, and now let's go to files. So files kind of added all of our fields on here. We're going to make this the same thing, 55 and 466. And then I'm just going to take these off for now. And what we're going to rename this one. So this will actually be, let's call it T1 files data entry. And our little text at the top, we're going to say upload a file. And in our top nav, we're going to have 2 different buttons. We'll have a simple new, which is just going to do a new record request. And then we're going to have, just for a little navigation, we'll have list. So there, and list. And we don't have that layout yet, but that's just going to be a go to layout. Scoot those over, pull that in. Okay. Now for our top section here, let's just do a kind of a rounded rectangle just to give it some division. And then I'm going to go to my fields on the left, and we want our title with the text above. There we go. And let's bring out description. Okay, we're going to make the actual field a bit bigger. And this will be our lovely button here. We're going to call upload. Let's do that one. Okay, so that's our title, description, upload, and now at the bottom, we are going to do a slide control here. For now, I'm going to leave the navigation dots on so I can kind of get through them a bit more easily. And let's call the first one slider 1. And we'll do slider 2 and slider 3. And then to toggle through those, we're going to do a button bar. And we're just going to use icons for the different buttons here. So first one's going to be camera. Second one, little audio recording. And third one will be barcode. Let's do that one. Okay, and we'll come back to that. And let's make the bottom flat. Okay. And now on each of our tabs, we want a couple things. We want our container fields. So I'm going to pull out that image here on tab 1. And then we're going to have 2 different buttons at the bottom. We're going to do add image, the plus. And then we'll also have remove image. Okay, remove is just a single step where we're going to set that image field to nothing. So basically it's just clearing it out. So image and quote quote means nothing. Okay. We're going to do that same thing for the other 2 tabs, but with the audio and barcode. But let's jump into scripts. There's a couple scripts we need, one for this button bar and then for this add image here. So let's first do script workspace. We're going to add our first one here. And let's call this, let's keep it simple, slide control. And this is a very complicated script. Go to object. And then for our object name, we're going to do get script parameter. Okay. Let's save that. That's going to go on the slider. And then let's also make one for our add image. Let's do set error capture, allow user abort. And then we're going to do a little if statement just to check if we are on mobile device or not. So system mode 3. If we are on a mobile device, we can use this insert from device. And then we're actually, I don't think we're changing any of these, but you can change, you want the front camera, back camera, what resolution. We're just going to do back at resolution full. And if we're not on a mobile device, then we're going to do the insert file step. And on that, we're going to show the content of the file, and the target will be that image field. And lastly, we're going to do a commit just to kind of push those changes, make sure we're fully committed on the record there. Also, let's do one more while we're in here. We're going to do a simple startup script that will set that variable for what platform we are on. So allow user abort, set error capture, and set variable. Here's where we're going to set the system mode And for the value, we're going to get system platform. So that's where we get our 1, 3, 4. And that actually is going to get applied on our file options. Go to script triggers, and on the first window open, we're going to run that startup script. We're also going to switch to layout. That's our data entry one there. All right, save those. Let's go back to our layout and put on our buttons. So add image, perform script. There's our add image there. And then these ones are all going to get the same script, but we are going to do a different parameter. So it will be our slide control, and then this will be slider 1. And then if we go to the next one, slide control, slider 2, and lastly, slide control, slider 3. Okay. Let's see. Then now that actually, I think we do a hide. Yes, we're doing a little hide on these buttons so we don't see both of them. So add image, we want that to hide when not is empty. I wish we had a is full command, but not is empty image. And then we're going to do the opposite on this one. So hide when the image is empty. And that way we can kind of stack these on top of each other, and we'll only see one at a time. Now I'm going to take these three objects, copy those, 0, 2, 9, 5, and let's go to our next panel. Oh, looks like I got them maybe too big. There we go. Okay, so let me re-grab those. 1, 2, 3, and paste. Let's scoot it over there. All right, so now we're on, as you see, we've changed to panel 2, which panel 2 is our audio. So I'm just going to change this container field to be audio, and then this is going to be remove audio, and our other one here, yes, here, I'm just going to drag it to the side. Add audio. Okay, let's pull that. Change the hide, same thing, is empty, but instead we're going to do our audio container field, and this one as well. And then we can make our little script for that one. Add audio. I'm actually just going to copy what we did here, paste, and we'll do insert from device. We're going to pick audio, and then this one we'll do microphone, and I think we're doing a duration of 60. Okay. And then this will do the same thing, just display the content of audio. Okay, save that, close that, and that will go, oop, I need to change this one. That's our remove, and right behind it, there we go. This one we want to change to our new script, add audio. Okay, we have 1, we have 2, last one. We're going to copy once more and paste for panel 3, which is going to be our barcode image. On this one, I'm going to pull this up a little bit, and I'm going to insert a merge field version of our barcode number, just so we can have that below the barcode. Right there. Then these ones we're going to make a little wider as we change that text to remove barcode. That's going to set our barcode image to nothing. And add barcode. Let's go make that script. Similar thing, I'm going to, let's just duplicate this time, save some time. This one will be add barcode, barcode image, and our type here, change that to barcode. We'll do camera back full, that's fine. We'll leave all the types. There's quite a bit of options within that. And then this will be barcode number right there. Save, close, and that goes on this button. Last little thing is our hide. So not is empty barcode image and is empty barcode image. Okay. So let's go to browse. Oh, let me take the dots off now that we've added those. Okay, so we got image, audio, barcode. They're not perfectly lined up, but we'll let housekeeping take care of that after. So now we have our data entry. Next, we need our list. So we are going to, let's actually just to kind of keep, then we're going to call this, actually that other one I wanted as L1. So this one will be our L2. So let's do it like that. And then instead of data entry, this is our list view. Go to views, default will be list. Okay, I'm going to jump back to the data entry and just change that to a L. There we go. All right, now list view, we don't need this. Instead of upload, I'm just going to put files, and then this will actually be to send us to the data entry. So that'll be just a simple go to layout, files, data entry, okay. And then it's probably easier to just get rid of these items. Okay, and let's pull that up here. And let's do a body of, try to get to like 60 something. There we go. Okay, a couple things we want on our list view. Let's, we still want our title and description, but to kind of save space and look a little better, we're going to do merge fields. So we want title, pull that up there, and we also want description. And then we're also going to add text here that in case there isn't a title, we're just going to say no title available. And same thing, no description available. And let's make those a little smaller. And we'll give them a gray coloring. And then those will get a hide on them. So hide when not is empty title, not is empty description. Okay, and then we're going to put those on top and move these all in our row. Okay. Next, we want our actual container fields. So let's go to fields. Let's go to image. I'm going to pull that out. It's a bit large there. So we're going to shrink this down. Let's do, well, first let's get rid of that lovely padding they like to add. 0, 0, 0, 0. And let's do 60 by 50. And we're going to pull off the edge there. So it fits nice in our row. And then we'll put right next to it our audio. And right next to that, our barcode image. Okay, it's getting a little snug. And lastly, I'm going to put a little button on the end here, which is just an arrow. Let's do that one. And that'll be a single step. Go to layout, data entry. Okay, and let's pull this back up. I'm also going to make these a little smaller. Let's do 14 there. All right, let's do browse and data layout. And that'll be files list view. All right, let's throw a couple records in here. So this will be test file A, test, and then let's say test file B and no description. And then this is just a bunch of things here. So on the list view, we could see those titles, and we can see where if there's no description, we have those hides working, coming through. Okay, now we have two files here. These are both sized for a mobile device. So that's why we have this kind of small size we did. What we need to do now is we're going to make two versions of those same layouts, but for the hosted version. So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but when we actually compile for the app that's going to go on the Android device, we can actually tell it which layouts that are going to go with that. So if we build 4 layouts here, all 4 do not have to go. We can say, hey, just grab these mobile-sized ones, whereas the hosted version of this, we can have all the layouts.
Yes, that is correct.
Awesome. So I'm going to make a folder. I'm just going to call it client and put these 2 within that. And then I'm going to make a second folder. We're going to call this server. And I'm going to duplicate these and put them within that folder. And now we're going to change these. So this will actually be our layout 3. And this one will be our layout 4. And now we're going to resize these ones and change the color a little bit so that we can very easily tell, hey, these are our mobile ones and these are the ones that we just want to view on the hosted file. So this is our data entry one. Instead of this light blue here, I'm just going to do a kind of a red, and we're going to change this to received files. And let's change that to white. We're not adding anything on this side. I mean, we could, but just for the sake of our demo, the server side will just be to kind of see what, what's been pushed up. List we still want, but we want that to go to our server list. So that'll be layout 4. And then I think also in our final, we have a little info button here that just pops up that about layout we made. So let's add that. Okay. We don't need this small phone size anymore, so I'm going to pull the layout out to, let's do about 1024. There we go. And then height-wise, let's do like 17. There we go. Okay, then we're not uploading here, so I can delete that. Let's push this out to, no, okay, wrong, reading the wrong box. There we go. And title and description can now be the same width. And let's throw them out that way. Oop. 900, not 9,000. All right, and then our slide panel. we can make that much larger. Let me make sure that's what I have selected right there. Let's do 1023. Okay. We're not adding or removing, so I'm going to get rid of those and just make our image show the whole thing. Do the same for audio. And then lastly for barcode. We'll keep the number down here. Center that up. Okay, and then our button bar. Let's pull that. And recenter it. Okay. Our list view and info can go way over here. All right, that looks good for that side. And now let's do the same thing for our server list view. We're going to once again say received files, change the top nav to a red. And we're going to pull the layout to here. Data, we're going to change to our layout 3. And I guess I can just copy that little info button. 9717. 9717. Pull this over. That was supposed to be white. Okay, and then we're just going to space these out as well. So pull this over here. Arrow can stay with it, but that's going to go also to layout 3. And then each of these we're just going to make a bit bigger. And round. Oop. So barcode. What do we do for that? Let's do 105, 105, 105, and make them all a nice little corner. Image, audio, barcode, and then description is going to get its own line and title. And let's make this top nav a little taller so we can put just text headers on there. Title and description. Image, audio, barcode. All right, browse mode. So same records, different layouts. So we have our mobile or client side. We have the server side. I guess I should show the same one. So there's our data, and then we can go to the list, and here we can go to the list. So these blue ones are what we'll be compiling into the app that's going to go to Android, and then basically users will be able to create, add container data, and then we'll look at these red layouts on the hosted side and be able to see them come in. So as you've seen, very simple. We have 2 tables, no relationships, basically about 5 fields here, 6 layouts, I think. Yeah, 6 layouts. And so this is about where we kind of end in the FileMaker creation side. And then the next thing, which I think we'll kind of transition to William, is about this upload. So we'll need a little script for this upload. And that's where LiveCode for FileMaker is going to come in.
Okay, so hopefully I can share my screen with no troubles.
Yes, you should be able to.
Okay.
There you go, and you are good.
Good. Okay.
No, success.
Something you want to do real quick, though, is move this off to the side so it's not in your way.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay. So do we want to dive into speaking about syncing, or should I show you the app running in LiveCode for FileMaker first?
That's a good question.
So,
Why don't you show us the app running first,
Yeah.
and then we can go on and do some syncing.
Okay. So first, I should probably mention there's a few things you have to do first off to set up and get things running. There's a few things in the accessibility settings. A lot of this is documented online among the lessons, if I can possibly find it. Such as this, the LiveCode app must be added to the accessibilities. There's a few other things as well, such as keyboard language must be set to either British English or American English. It's currently a limitation that we have with the way we import the information from FileMaker apps. And hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to Panos is Thunder. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to
his favourite setting things up.
Android and such. You'll get a much more detailed explanation of that in due course. So I'll start with loading up the application. One of the first things, that may pop up is a potential update. I'm going to ignore that for now. And then the next thing that will pop up is this overlay about installing the LiveCode for FM plugin. And this plugin essentially lets you use a lot of some additional features that we've added that will work in a LiveCode for FM app. The biggest of which is all the syncing related apps and functions. So just by clicking continue, this should now be installed in FileMaker, and you should be able to access that within scripts and calculations. So to start with, I'm going to click Start New Project. We've got two options here, Fast Start and Regular Start. We'll go with Regular because there's no syncing options in Fast Start. And then hopefully I should be able to quickly grab the app that Miles has just made for us, drag it in here, and then enter the admin username and password for the solution. So no awards for guessing the password for this one. And then once you're happy with the project name, hit continue, and the import phase should start where the FileMaker app will be opened. Hopefully I have got it closed. And all the information about your app will be exported so that we can begin parsing and compiling the solution. Give that a few moments.
Yeah, so I guess one thing I didn't show in mine is that, making that admin security account. I think on mine it was admin nothing, but that was one thing I didn't add that we would need, right?
I believe so, yeah. Okay, and now we've got this screen, and this is where we can see the layouts that are included in our solution, and then choose the ones that we want to compile into the LiveCode for FM app. So I'm going to ignore the server ones because we don't need those included, and add continue. And these are the tables for those associated layouts. So we'll add all of them as well. and now it's parsing the data that we have imported from the FileMaker app and compiling it. And now this is quite a fortunate overlay in this occurrence. This is our feature implementation report. I believe Kevin discussed this yesterday. Essentially, yes. It'll give you a report of all the implemented features in your solution and ones that are not implemented or potentially only partially implemented, which hopefully we can go over some of that later. Okay, and now we're on the screen where you get to decide if you need the data included from your FileMaker app and if you need it to sync. So I think for now, we'll say no to sync. We'll come back to that. We'll just quickly show the Mac app running. And I'll go into a bit more detail about the sync options later. And now we've got the option of platforms. We'll stick with Mac for now. There is Android and iOS, but at a later date and you'll get to see that. And now we've got the option to build the app for distribution or test. So we'll just quickly hit test and we'll see the app running. Finish. And here we are. And of course, ideally, since Miles correctly built the app with mobile in mind, the layouts are a rather large size for Mac. And this is a solution he previously provided me with. So we do have some lovely data of a cat picture right here in the solution. Anyway,
so as you're clear, if you haven't seen this before, this is now an application that's running that's completely separate to FileMaker. So, I mean, if you look in the top left of the screen, you'll see that the name of the app, RCC Data Collector version 2, completely independent. You're running now inside LiveCode for FM, so you could take that application and distribute it to somebody else without FileMaker.
Yep, exactly. Now, if I close that, hopefully, if we go back and quickly edit the solution, I can possibly go to data options and click yes to sync. And then hopefully we can go through some of these options. So first off, there's two ways to do syncing. There's automatic syncing, which will occur at a set interval, or the manual syncing, which is available by using the script steps and functions as part of the LiveCode for FM plugin. So the overlay that you're seeing right now is some of the settings for automatic syncing. So up here we have how often we'll check for remote and local changes in comparison to the hosted server solution, database, sorry. We've got an option here for how often the solution should check for deleted records. And here is how many times the app will attempt to sync if connection fails. So we'll stick for the defaults for now. And now we're at the point where we have to select what tables we want to sync. I believe, is it files we want, Miles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the preference is just it's a single record. I don't think anything would change in that unless, we could add like a version field or something, but we don't have anything in this app.
Okay. Select OK. Apparently this is an overlay that will pop up explaining if the sync setup, which I'll go into more detail on how exactly tables get set up for syncing later on. But here you'll get a few some descriptions of what's went wrong or what's went right. If it's all green, then it's good to go. There may be a couple exceptions to this, but in general, that's the rule of it. And you can download the report, and it'll be in your files for you. Somewhat like the feature report. Anyway, continue. And now what LiveCode for FileMaker is doing now is it's generating the interface file. This is necessary in order to access the server-side solution file database on FileMaker server. As per what we use for syncing is FileMaker's data API. One of the necessary things you need is the tables and layouts of those tables to be able to access the data on them. So we're just generating that interface file at the moment.
We do have a quick question. The question from Twitch, is this converted to an SQL database?
No, it's
no, it's not. I mean, we may use certain technologies like that under the hood, but essentially we're still using FileMaker Server as the database to connect back to. But yeah, I mean, it's our own. It's something like that in the client, kind of under the hood, absolutely. But we're still using FileMaker Server to connect back to.
Got it. Thank you. Hope that answers your question, Moilani. All right, I'll let you get back to it, William.
okay. So after that, you should see this syncing checklist. I don't know whether we have time for this at the moment, but yes, it's fairly straightforward. Make sure you set the FMREST permissions on your file. I could quickly run through that, hopefully. If I open up the file with the admin account, go to Manage and Security, Advanced Settings, Extended Privileges, and then FMREST, which should be set to our full access account. Close that. And then we open up the interface file. And we have to essentially do the same with that and ensure that the admin account has the same username and password as the solution that we're compiling. So this would be admin. And for this, we would also set the appropriate FMREST setting, which is done by default here. And then, of course, make sure to configure FileMaker Server and enable the data API. I'll just briefly enter a sort of Fox fake address at the moment and hit next, and then we'll get to the end of the process and I can further explain in depth what's necessary to set up your solution to be syncable, and I'll explain some of the features. So here we are, essentially back at this screen, and I think we'll stop here and go to the syncing chat. But yeah,
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'll close that. Hopefully, don't accidentally click on anything. As you can see, since I've entered just that completely fake address, the app isn't happy with it. So we'll talk about configuring it correctly right now. So just to present, got a couple of slides. The main thing to set up a table ready for sync is to get those three main fields down in a primary key, a modification timestamp, and a creation timestamp. That was seen on the overlay earlier when we were going through the tool. There's a couple of specific details that you have to set correctly. For the primary key, it must be an auto-enter calculation that returns a unique identifier. It can't be replaceable, but it should be modifiable on data entry. And it also must be indexed. For the modification timestamp, it's just fairly self-explanatory. It must be an auto-enter field, that all enters a timestamp on creation, and it also must allow indexing. And the same goes with the creation timestamp field. So these fields are something that every table that you want to sync will require. Fields that meet those requirements, LiveCode for FM tool will pick the first appropriate one it sees by order of creation, or you can add a comment to the field for the specific field that you want to use for one of these mandatory fields. But yeah, this is perhaps the biggest bit of getting your solution ready to sync.
The reason that we need to use a UUID, do you want to just go into that briefly, William, as opposed to numbers that count up?
I'm fairly sure this is more of an Ali question. I wish I had him at hand.
Oh, no worries. I just didn't want to preempt you if you had it on one of your slides, but I can explain it. It's just that if your records are uniquely identified by a number and you've got multiple different clients that are connected back to FileMaker server, if one of them's offline and creates a record, it might create record number 3, and then another one that's offline might also not be able to get back to the server, and it might therefore create another record with the same number. And so having UUIDs just means that doesn't happen, and it's a sort of key difference in how LiveCode for FM works compared to FileMaker, because the FileMaker, the connection always has to be online, and if it's not online, then your app will essentially stop working. Whereas with LiveCode for FM, it tolerates situations where the connection drops really well. And that means that we have to be able to handle conflicts. So you can't create records that are just based on a number. And that's why you have to have the primary key UUID. And then modification timestamp and creation timestamp obviously are there to ensure that we get the correct record. We know which record should win in the event that one of them has been updated and we wanted to do a sync.
Thanks for that. I'll continue now if you're finished there, Kevin.
Yeah.
So, this was just a brief diagram, just to show a primary key where you'd have to set the settings. Fairly self-explanatory there. So to get into syncing features, as I'd mentioned earlier, the two main options is to automatically sync with the options set in the tool before. There's also, for automatic syncing, there's a few script steps such as enable and disable. So this is configurable both at compile time and at runtime, whether you want to automatically sync. The other option that we'll see later on in the week is manual syncing. There's quite a lot of useful script steps in there. The main two ones is the sync and request sync script steps. So the sync script step is a blocking operation. When you run it in your script, it will stop and it will immediately sync the records for the table that you're on. Request sync will do so at the next available opportunity once the script is either paused or finished. Let's see. There's another couple of useful features and script steps that I should mention that you'll see later on. There's a script step to set constraints on a table, so you can decide what records you specifically want with what data. Rather useful if you want only a certain record, say, for that matches a certain user. You'll see later on, Ali will do a trick with it to get one-way sync. Aside from that, I think one of the other big features that we have is deferred containers. So one of the things that we find with Android apps is you don't want a lot of container data, especially in some apps. You can have several hundred megabytes of container data. you don't want that all syncing onto the app and clogging up the user's phone or slowing it down. So to certain container fields, there will be, you can add a comment, deferred, I believe. And then when the layout that you enter that has that container object on it, that's when the data will be synced automatically. Yeah, useful one there. I think, am I missing anything else?
I think those are probably the biggest ones. Deferred containers certainly produces a much better experience with lots of container data. It's a bit like that feature that you see on a web page where it just loads the images as you go down to a particular image on the page. It's pretty similar to that. Yeah, I mean, we're obviously going to dig into these features in quite a lot more depth in the coming days, but I think that's a pretty good overview.
Yeah, it's all configurable, either compile time or runtime. For example, the deferred containers, you'll be able to configure how much you actually want cached at runtime, so you don't, you can manage that yourself. It won't overflow or use up too much of the user's data. But yeah, I think that's the main one.
Okay, then.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great, kind of overview. I know we went kind of fast on some things, but as we've mentioned, each of these kind of things we've shown, we're going to dig into more. So getting, LiveCode for FileMaker, looking more at the plugin, the script steps it gives us, we're going to do more of that. We're going to be talking a lot more about these different sync options and the different configurations Williams mentioned. So yeah, I guess any kind of final questions from anyone?
I don't see any. I'm looking around.
It's a very quick, very proficient app build that you did there, Miles. That came together very quickly. It was brilliant.
it was very impressive.
Okay, we got one from CJ. Is syncing safe for transaction using two related tables?
I'll definitely defer that one to William. Is syncing safe for transactions using two related tables? I'm not totally sure. I follow. Do you follow that question, William?
Not entirely.
Sure
I don't see why related tables would hamper syncing at all.
Could you try asking the question in a different way? We'll try again.
Typing eagerly to see.
Okay,
rephrasing.
That's great. That's brilliant.
What'd you say, Miles? Sorry.
Oh, I just said we're getting the ...
Yes.
Infinite 3 dots.
The Discord ...
But yeah, I mean the little, we just compiled for Mac, and what we were showing is basically, a runtime, like Kevin mentioned yesterday. For those who liked or relied on kind of FileMaker runtimes, it's going away. That was it.
Yeah, I'm actually doing, if you try and out LiveCode for it, it's actually the easiest way to get started, because you don't have to get your Android device and plug it in or configure, your Android simulator or, any of these things. You can literally just run through and see your app running. And given that we're using the same engine on Mac as we're using on Android, if it works well on Mac, then chances are it'll work well on Android as well. Obviously, there are some system-specific features that are native to each operating system.
And you'd get that build report, which you'd need to, let me go back and tweak this, try again. Yeah. All right, CJ's modified what he said.
First sync table 1 and then lose connection when sync table 2. What is happening? Just to be sure that all data went to the sync process. But basically, what happens if it's syncing and you lose connection?
Okay, if you lose connection in the middle. As far as I know, it checks pretty carefully to make sure it has done a complete sync. But that is actually a great question, and I think somebody who's worked on the syncing engine can probably tell you a bit more about exactly what happens in that situation. So what I'll do is I'll get somebody to answer that question in full tomorrow, because neither William nor I have really worked on that aspect of it, but I've sort of seen a lot of the discussions around it, but I don't know that.
Okay, so basically, CJ will get back to you on that tomorrow. But thank you for asking. Other than that, I think we're actually pretty good. I don't see anyone else squiggling in at the last second. So I'm going to wrap us up then. Thank you very much, you guys. I greatly appreciate it. This has been an awesome session. Real quick for tomorrow, we are it's day 3, right? It's only Tuesday. It's already been a long week. Day 3 will be in compiling and testing LiveCode. So basically, we also discuss how to prep your development machine to use LiveCode, how to connect Android device to computer, talk through the prerequisites before compiling. All of that wonderful jazz will be tomorrow. So please tune back in for that. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, we'll just basically keep going through all the steps. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you very much, William and Kevin and Miles, for presenting. I greatly appreciate it. You all have a lovely day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for having us. You have a good day.
Just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Try to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap, stands in, throws it left for Amendola, reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10, rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, again he makes the grab.